Last but certainly not least in our league previews is Serie A. So let's take it away. First team, Inter Milan. Now, they are coming off the back of a mediocre season. They started very well and then they lost 9 of the last 18 games, which means they slumped from a potential Champions League spot and having to settle for a Europa League spot, coming in at 4th. And it was a little disappointing for Inter Milan fans. This is a team that are rich in history, similar to AC Milan. Thought that this season things could start to change, and then Roberto Mancini's former side, as he's no longer there, Frank de Boer, now the man at the helm, decided they just slumped away towards the end of the season. But this year, I think this could be a groundbreaking season for Inter Milan. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but I'm going to predict that this team bounces back up the table, potentially being one of the teams to actually push Juventus further. As I know, Napoli, I believe, are weakened this season with the sale of their record-breaking signing. But let's focus on Inter Milan really quick. Candreva comes in. They have Banega. Perisic plays out wide. Keeping hold of Icardi is almost like a signing. This is a player that Arsenal were looking at. There was rumours around Chelsea trying to get his signature. So it should be treated as a new signing. Icardi is going to lead by example this year. And with Candreva coming in, he likes to play out wide, can also tuck in the middle. I think they've got a great attacking threat up there. With Frank de Boer coming in, a successful 6 years at Ajax, decent manager, knows the game inside out. And I think that Inter Milan could be a team to look out for this season in Serie A. However, on the other side of Milan, a team that's even more rich in history, one would say, when they used to have the Maldinis and Kaká in their prime and Cafu, no longer are they a staple of Italian football, and no longer are they a staple of the big-name players coming into Italy. That's the current holders and soon-to-be, I believe, 6-time Scudetto winners in a row, Juventus. But AC Milan are moving forward, clearly, because Berlusconi's decided to sell their club now over to Chinese investors. Does that mean it will pave way for a potential new wave of players coming into AC Milan? Who knows? But at the moment, they really do have to figure some stuff out. They're going to rely on Carlos Bacca, trying to emulate his 18-goal season last year to try and help push them back up the table. With Donnarumma between the sticks, this is a lad that's often been compared to Gigi Buffon. They've got some safe hands there, and they can maybe build forward from that. But there hasn't been enough movement in the transfer window for AC Milan for me to say that they're going to push higher up the table, maybe challenge top 4. I think of all the teams that have moved around, tried to replace big-name players that have left, I think AC Milan really had to strengthen this year, and they didn't do as much as their neighbours Inter Milan, and I think they will suffer as a result. So I think top 4 will be a realistic expectation for them to try and reach, but I believe it might be mid-table football AC Milan will be trying to get to. Moving forward, a team that was so close to success last year, pushing Juventus right to the wire, and then, of course, the experienced champions just kind of opened up like Usain Bolt in the final third of a 100-meter. They just completely cleared away from the pack, and Napoli were left chasing their heels. Selling their record breaker last year, Gonzalo Higuain, is obviously going to be a negative. Even if Higuain left, that's still a problem because he was one of the main reasons why they were able to maintain that title challenge. But not only do you let him go, but he goes and joins forces with the team you were chasing all last year. I think people have underestimated this signing. Too many people swayed by Higuain's missed chances for Argentina and not realising that by Juventus adding this player, they're just further dominant now in Serie A. It's going to take a great push, a great collective effort from Napoli to try and come in and potentially push Juventus to the wire. Now, they've made a good signing. Milik comes in. Frank de Boer, as I mentioned there with Inter Milan, knows him well. 21 goals last year for Ajax. He's going to be a good acquisition. He had a good Euros, and I think that he could potentially cause a problem, especially with Hamsik up there and Insigne. They're good players. Collectively, they do have a chance. But it's all going to come down to whether or not Juventus are weakened this year and go through some controversial spots. Maybe they don't play as well, but with their squad, I wouldn't bet against them. So Napoli, they'll be there or thereabouts. I'd say top 4, potentially pushing for 2nd or 3rd, fighting against Inter Milan. So Roma are the last club I'm going to look at before I go on to who I believe are going to be the champions, Juventus. Now, they've been branded the most important club in Italy by Fazio, the signing that comes in from Tottenham Hotspur. And although that is a good statement to make, they may be one of the most important, one of the richest in history, but it's going to take a lot more, I think, to push Juventus. Not enough Italian teams have went out into the transfer market and tried to strongly acquire some big-name players in order to try and push a team that are going to be pushing for Champions League titles. I believe me, Juventus have strengthened in so many ways. Yeah, they've lost Paul Pogba, and yeah, they've lost some players in there, but just looking at that team, they're going to go forward and be so dominant this year. And I don't think teams like Roma have strengthened enough. I know they're going to look into players like Fazio, who's going to play at centre-back. I think it's a good acquisition to have Salah be there full time. I know he had a couple of loan spells. He's a very important figure for them. Maybe getting Cuadrado would have been an interesting move for them, but he went back to Chelsea on loan after his spell at Juventus last year. There could have been a little bit of movement in there to try and get him back. But either way, Roma for me are going to be there or thereabouts. So they're a team that knows what it takes, and you can't count out a team that has one of the legends, Totti, remaining in charge of that team moving forward. So let's move to Juventus. Dani Alves, Pjanic, Higuain, Benassia, Xhaka and Lamina all make up a fantastic footballing team going forward with such depth in every position. And I think when you look at what Allegri has to work with in this squad, it's a manager's dream. Yes, losing Paul Pogba is a huge loss. I'm not going to make any excuses for that. But will it immediately affect this team and their chances for reclaiming the Serie A and going on to 6 straight Scudettos? No. I think they're definitely in pole position to go forward and win this trophy. When you've got Dybala up top with Higuain up there as well, they just have such great depth, such great chemistry has already been proven in that squad. How will Pjanic fit in? Perfectly fine. The guy knows Serie A inside out. Playmaker, box to box, can also defend very well. I think that they've added in some fantastic players. If Paul Pogba was still there, I would have been safe to say that they would be in a pole position to potentially run for the Champions League. They would have added stronger players in there. Without Paul Pogba, they're still going to be there or thereabouts. I'd probably say semi-finals is where they'll look to get to, maybe even a final berth again, as they did like 2 years ago in the Champions League. But look what they've added in this squad. Dani Alves is going to have a license to go forward. They play that 3-5-2 system that just allows for a wing-back to attack. Yeah, he's going to need to tuck in at certain moments, but the guy had a license to go forward at Barcelona when he was one of their back four and needed to defend a lot more often than not. And now in this example, they've got a back three that's so dominant, Chiellini, Barzagli and Bonucci. He's going to have the license to go forward, support the attack, whip in those crosses, and I think he'll find his time very enjoyable, should I say, as Patrice Evra has done in the past now that he's played for Juventus. And I think that Dani Alves will be a great acquisition, along with Pjanic. Benassia will be a good backup in there in case Bonucci, Barzagli or Chiellini goes down injured. And of course, Higuain, expect plenty of goals from him up top, and I will safely assume that Juventus will go on and retain their Serie A crown.